Good morning and welcome back to PhotoJoseph's Photo Month, the Q&A portion of the show. We have just done a show about variable ND filters, explaining what they are, why you need them, how they work, and so on. If you missed the show, click right here to watch that and then come back to the Q&A. This is the live Q&A, which means if you have a Q, I will do my best to A it, and if you are participating in the live chat, then you want to put @PhotoJoseph in front of it. I did a Q&A at the end of the Lumix S presentation yesterday, and a bunch of people were posting questions without doing that because I realized I had a bunch of people who weren't regulars to the show and they didn't know that, so a lot of questions got missed. But do your best to put PhotoJoseph in front of it. If you've already posted the question earlier and you didn't do that, just copy and paste it in again with the @PhotoJoseph on there. And let's see what we've got here. So I'm scrolling up through, we're starting the beginning. And why you need 20 different ones, I have no idea what that's a reference to, but John, you're welcome to rephrase that question. Double asterisk is saying, check out filters from Breakthrough Photography. Excellent, thank you for the recommendation. Yeah, I'm not married to these filters. I'm just telling you that this brand, the Fotga ones, I'm just saying that I've used them. They haven't sent me, I've bought every single one of them that I have, and they've been very good to me. And they're really inexpensive. So it's kind of hard to argue with cheap and good, but there are obviously better ones out there. So yeah, do absolutely check out the Breakthrough Photography ones. John Roberts says, I've had some good luck with the Nissi brand, N-I-S-I, Nissi brand as well, with no color cast. Excellent, love it. More brand recommendations. Thank you very much. Christopher Pepe says, I've had problems with the variable NDs having internal reflections while panning in video. Oh, the best results I've had came from using single NDs, 0.3 to 1.2, and not stacking them. Interesting. So yeah, with a non-variable ND, you can stack them, right? Forgetting the reflections issue right now, you can stack them. So if you've got a 1 and a 2, you can stack them together, make a 3. At least I think that's how the math works. Yeah, you make a 3-stop ND. You can totally do that, but there is a risk, apparently, according to Christopher Pepe, that you can get reflections, and that makes sense, right? So any piece of glass on your camera, in the lens itself or outside of the lens, risks creating reflections. And what often happens, the way that these often occur, is not actually a glare off of the front of the filter. It's a glare off of the light coming through the filter, through the lenses, hitting the sensor, bouncing off the sensor, passing back through the lenses, and then hitting the back of your filter. And if the back of your filter doesn't have the right coatings on it, then that will bounce right back again, creating a reflection or an echo in the scene. So you want to make sure that your filters are coated. Now, honestly, I can't say that these are marketed as coated, these cheaper Fotga ones. But like I said, I haven't had any problems with them. So, but good to know. Christopher has run into those. It is certainly something to watch out for with the variables. But there you go. So just something to keep in mind on as well. Killian saying just use a sun HUD should solve the problem. But as I mentioned at the end of the main video, it can be hard to attach a sunshade. Now, not impossible, right? Like this particular filter, this one, what is this? This is a 77 millimeter. It fits on a 77 millimeter filter. It has front filters on it. So if we go in here, front filter threads on it. You can kind of see that, but there are front filter threads in here. So if I had a screw-on lens hood for that size, I could attach that onto there and I would still be able to rotate it. It would actually make it even easier to rotate because I'd have the whole shade to grab onto instead of just this thin ring in here. However, it would have to be the right size, and that's not going to be 77 because that's the inside one. It's probably like an 82 or something. I don't know. It doesn't actually say on here. Maybe it said it on the box, but you'd have to get that as a separate thing. And not all variable ND filters, or any filter for that matter, have filter threads on the inside of it. Not all of them are designed to be stacked with something else. So just keep that in mind when you're shopping. Alrighty, let's see here. Scrolling. Here we go. Burns text is way off topic, but where did you source your intro music from? That set came from, hold on, no, Artlist is what I use for a lot of my music. Artlist is awesome for music for the vlogs. If you're watching the show before it starts, music that's playing in there is just music that I pulled from Artlist. But no, that was not. I have to check the website because I know, I always forget the name of it. It is Audio Jungle. If you go to Envato, ENVATO.com, that's a licensing site for a bunch of different types of stuff. And you go to the music one, it is Audio Jungle, and they have a bunch of different stingers on there. What's really cool is you often get stinger packs where you'll have a 5-second, a 7-second, a 11-second, a 15-second version of the same tune. So that's what I use for the intro. And if you've ever watched the recorded the non-live version of this show, you may have noticed that the intro for the main show is the 11 second, I think it's 11 second or 7 second version, whatever it is. And then the Q&A, I always replace it with the shorter version. It's the 5 or 7 or whatever, shorter version of it. So it sounds the same. It's the same jingle, but it's got a shorter version of it. And those all came from Envato. So yeah, it's cool. I like it. I don't have any affiliate or any codes or anything, but just head to envato.com or Audio Jungle, and you'll just Google Audio Jungle and you'll find it. Tony Smith, what are your recommendations for a more budget-friendly variable ND? That is definitely going to be the ones in my hand here, the Fotga, F-O-T-G-A. Again, scroll down, links down below to these things. They're very inexpensive, and they've treated me very well in the past, so I've never had a problem with it. John Roberts says, why you need 20 different ND filters, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Yeah, you need all those different ones unless you're going to do get the variable. But again, differences, trade-offs. I would say most likely, and I think that Christopher Pepe was saying this earlier, better quality with the non-variables, but I only own variables. I don't own any fixed ones, and I've never had a complaint with them. Then again, you know, it's not like if I shot waterfalls for a living, then I would probably invest in some really high quality non-variable ND filters, but I don't, and so this has been good for me. John Roberts, boom, just explained it perfectly why you can get reflections or ghosting with filters. There you go. The reflection, the bouncing back, the echo coming back off of the sensor. Bernardo Silva, hey dude, that's me. Don't you ever get issues with variable NDs on photos and the cross pattern? Only if you crank it up too high. If you take it all the way up to the end, then you see it. But otherwise, no. I've never seen an issue. No. And to be fair, with these cheaper filters, I am mostly doing video work. I don't do that many long exposure stills. I showed you a couple of them, and actually I was like, where am I going to find some? I shoot more long exposure stills with my iPhone using the, I've shown you that before. I'll link to that video too. If you want to know how to do long exposure still photos, like waterfall type photos, same kind of thing with your iPhone, did a whole video on that. It's so crazy cool. It's amazing. All right. Infogera says, is the quality of an ND filter notable in the picture or video? If it is a cheap, and by cheap I don't mean low cost, but cheap quality filter, then yes. We talked about that at the opening of the show. You can get a color cast, usually towards blue or towards brown. I've even seen them towards green. That can happen, but a really good filter will have no color cast. It's supposed to be neutral. That's in the name, neutral. Some cheaper ones will give you a color cast. The Fotga ones that I'm using, I've not done a side-by-side like without to exactly check the colors, but I have never had an issue or felt like I had an issue with color cast. Again, until you get to the very extreme end where it's unusable anyway, but then you get all kinds of other weird stuff happening too. So it should not be a problem. John Roberts says, yeah, I find that to be a problem more with inexpensive variable NDs, where you can get that X going through the frame. Okay, so there you go. The interesting inexpensive ones, I haven't had that problem with these, but there you go. I guess good shout out for the Fotga brand. All right, everybody, I think that is everything for today. So thanks so much for tuning in live. Not a single Lumix S question. I am shocked. If you missed the announcement on the Lumix S, yes, it's true. Panasonic has announced a Lumix full-frame camera, the S1 and the S1R. We did a whole thing about that yesterday, super early in the morning at 4:15 a.m. I was here in the studio broadcasting. I was here to actually watch the presentation from Photokina at 3:30 in the a.m. And that whole thing, we'll link to it right here. That was a nice video talking about all the new stuff, at least everything that is public, and answer some questions. Alrighty, Burns asking when you get a Lumix S. There you go. Yeah, I don't know, man. All I know the same thing you do. Early 2019. That's it. That's all I know. I obviously hope that I will have one before the public does. I can't say for sure that I will, but that has been historically. I've usually gotten a camera a little bit early, so let's keep all of our fingers crossed that I will. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.